Hey everybody, it's Roland Millington with The Lowest Note. I want to talk a little bit today about tonal production. Now, when we talk about tonal production as bass players, a lot of times we think about gear. We think about outboard preamps, onboard preamps. We start thinking about EQs. We start thinking about modulation effects. We start thinking about amplifiers, different types of cabinets, different types of pickups that we can be using, whether they're noiseless, whether they're split, whether they're single coil, whether they're humbuckers. We start thinking about active preamps and active pickups, whether we've got a 3-band tone control or whether we've got just a single tone control, whether we've done a treble bleed mod to the bass or not. All these different things are what we immediately start thinking about when we start dialing in our sound. But one of the most important things you can do is know how to change your sound on the fly, and that involves your hands. A lot of fretless players, a lot of upright players know that your left hand is very important in your tone production. For example, on your fretless bass, if you stop the string with the bone of your finger instead of the fat, fleshy part of your finger, then you're going to get a different tonal characteristic out of that string. Now, that's great for fretless players, not so much helpful for fretted players, but that's okay because you've got a right hand too. Well, most of you do. Anyway, with that right hand, where you pluck between the bridge and the neck is very important, but also how you pluck. So for example, just changing the position on the bridge to the neck with one finger goes like this. Just changing to using two fingers, this is a little tip I picked up from John Patitucci on upright bass, will actually get you a rounder tone, but still maintain the attack when you're playing down low. Another thing that you can try to use is between the second knuckle and the tip of your finger, be able to pluck the string. Very similar to the way that you would use your arm and your body to pluck an upright bass string. You can use it to produce a different tonal characteristic on the strings here. It's something that you really need to work on because it's not exactly the fastest technique, but you'll get there if you work at it. Another thing you can do is what I do with this little groove gear. Now, this little fret wrap that we've got here, they don't necessarily say that this is what it's used for, but because they sell the Fump, and the Fump is a cool product, but I prefer the fret wrap. I prefer it over a piece of foam, for example, because you know exactly where I'm going with this. I'm going to tuck it underneath of the strings. I like it more than the foam because it actually has the ability to be velcroed together and retained elsewhere so you don't lose it. I was losing foam left and right, and I finally just grabbed a 5-string one for my 4-string. Always helps to get one string higher than the number of strings that you're using in order to mute the string. And when you do, it sounds like this. Another thing you can do, talking about copping an upright vibe, is to use just what, this the single coil thing. It's the reason there's a tug bar down here on these 50s basses, is because they expected you to put your hand flat on there and use your thumb, just like this. And it does kind of cop that upright vibe. It's not perfect, but it's there. So explore the different ways that you can attack your right hand on the strings, the different ways that you can change your positioning on your right hand on the strings, and different ways that you can do it involved in a passage. in order to make your sound different. Once you've been able to do that, pretty much, well, anything that you want to change in a song, any context that you want to give a fuller or you want to give more of a precise attack, you can do easily with your right hand. If you're fretless, with your left hand and your right hand. So explore, have fun, and don't forget, stay low.